Now, what we have found out is we have found out the input impedance as well as the current gain. We have found out the input impedance as well as the current gain. Now, what I am going to find out is I am going to find out the voltage gain. Okay, third one we are going to find out the voltage gain. What is the equation for voltage gain? That is output voltage divided by input voltage. That is the equation for voltage gain. So our equation should have V0 and Vi. So what I am going to select is I am going to select the first equation, isn't it? That is first equation, Vi is equal to Hi into input current, that is Hi into Ib plus HR into HR into output voltage V0. So this is our first equation. Okay, so what I am going to do is I have to find out output voltage divided by input current. So we already know that our output voltage is output voltage is minus IC by RL. That is output voltage divided by VI, input voltage. This is the thing we are going to find out. That is minus ICRL divided by VI. Okay. So how can I write this IC? This IC also we know that our current gain, that equation is minus IC by IB. So how can I replace this? We already know that our current gain IAI is equal to minus IC by IB. So that is what is by IC. My IC is equal to minus AI into IB. Okay, I can write this IC is equal to minus AI into IB, isn't it? So if I am rewriting this, my output voltage, it is not my output voltage, my voltage gain AV. AV is equal to V0 by Vi. That V0 I have replaced is just minus ICRL by Vi. So now that voltage gain AV is equal to minus IC. I am replacing it with minus AI IB. So I can write it as current gain into input current into RL divided by Vi, input voltage. Okay, like this I can write out. Then how can I write this? Here AI equation I know, RL equation I know, Vi by IB, that is input voltage by input current. I can write it as AI RL by input impedance Zi. Just now we have found out what is the equation for input impedance. So if I am substituting my equation for input impedance, that is AI into RL divided by, what is the equation for input impedance? That is HI minus HR HF divided by H0 plus 1 by RL. This is the equation for Zi. And I can also put the equation for AI also, isn't it? What is the equation for AI? AI, it is HF. AI I can substitute it for, that is equal to AI is minus HF by 1 plus H0 RL. This is my equation for AI into RL divided by, what is Zi equation? Zi equation I have already given you, or I can also write it as HI minus HR HF RL HR HF RL divided by 1 plus H0 RL. Okay, so if I am looking like this, then if I am solving for this, how can I solve for this? That is minus HF RL by 1 plus H0 RL divided by HI into 1 plus H0 RL. I have taken LCM minus HR HF RL divided by 1 plus H0 RL. So these two terms will cancel and I can write my equation as, that is, minus HF RL divided by minus HF RL divided by HI into minus HF HI plus delta H into RL. I can write like this also. That is minus HFRL divided by HI plus delta H into RL. So how do you know what is the equation for this delta H? That delta H I can write it as HI HO, isn't it? This HI, this term, how can I simplify this? Can you please tell me how can you simplify this? HI into 1 is HI and HI plus HI H0 RL minus HR HF RL. This HI have turned to like this and this RL I have taken common. So that is HI H0 minus HR HF, or what is delta H? Delta H is equal to HI H0 minus HR HF. This is delta H value. Here I can substitute like this. Okay. So this is the equation for the voltage gain. The calculation of gain is very important because it is asked in our syllabus itself. In the syllabus itself it is given calculation of the input voltage, input impedance in current gain and what all things? And the gains, that is current gain and voltage gain. So what are the things now we have discussed? We have found out three equations. So if I am rewriting the equation, let me rewrite the equation. That is my first equation, what was it? First equation is current gain. My first equation current gain was minus HFE by 1 plus HORL. This was my FE I am writing, neglecting. So AI is equal to minus HF by 1 plus HORL. That is the current gain. What is the voltage gain? Now we have found out the voltage gain we have found out is equal to, that is also minus HF into RL divided by, how can I write, HI plus delta H into RL. What is our delta H? Where delta H is equal to, what is delta H? Delta H is equal to HI H0 minus HF into HR. This was our equation, HI H0 minus HF into HR. Okay, and we have HI H0, and we have already found out one more equation, that is the third equation, that is input impedance. Input impedance was equal to, that is also equal to HI minus HR. Like this we can write, or I can write it as HI minus HR HF RL divided by 1 plus 1 plus H0 RL. This is the third equation. So these equations you have to by heart because it was given in the syllabus itself. Now what is the equation for before finding out the input impedance? Since I have known the input current gain and the current gain and the voltage gain, I can also write fourth equation. I can also find out the power gain. What is the power gain? That is equal to current gain into voltage gain. If I am writing out current gain into voltage gain, this multiplying these two will give us, that is minus and minus plus H square F into RL, isn't it? H square F into RL divided by, how can you write it? H square F into RL divided by the multiplication of this, that is 1 plus H0 RL into 1 HI plus delta H into RL. Okay, where delta H is the same. So the fourth parameter I have found out is the current gain, power gain. And now we have forgotten to find out the output impedance. How can we find out the output impedance? Can we find out the output impedance? To find out the output impedance, you have to short circuit the source voltage. Okay, in order to find out the output impedance, this is a little different from what till now what we are doing. So in order to find out the output impedance, what we have to do is the output impedance, we have to short circuit the input. Short circuit the input. If I am short circuiting the input, that is Vs, then I can redraw my input circuit. Okay, so I am taking my input circuit. This was my input circuit. Okay, if I am short circuiting this, then what is our equation? In order to find out the input impedance, we have to look from here, isn't it? So what will be here? I am in short circuiting my input, then I am having a resistance here. One series resistance will be here. The equivalent of this, there is a resistance will be here, and in series there is HI and there is a voltage source if I am short circuiting. Okay, so if I am short circuiting, then I will have a resistance here, then the same HI resistance here, then I will have a voltage source. So this is the short circuited diagram for the input impedance, in order to solve for the input impedance. So in order to solve for the input impedance, in order to solve for not the input impedance but the output impedance. So there is a source resistance as well as the parallel combination of RB here, then HI here, and there is a plus minus voltage source here. So what is we are going to find out is the output impedance is at 0. Output impedance is, we know that, output voltage divided by output current. Okay, output voltage divided by output current. So what is the equation having output voltage as well as output current? Is there any equation having output voltage as well as output current? Yes, in the second equation, isn't it? In the second equation, we know that this is output voltage divided by output current. So second equation, what is our second equation? Second equation is I0 is equal to HF I1 plus H output impedance into output voltage V0. And if I am rewriting it, what I have to find out is I have to find out I2. This is my second equation, and in which what I am going to find out is I am short circuiting the input source. So I am short circuiting. So how will I write the equation? I am applying Kirchhoff's voltage law in this particular short circuit, that is minus I1 or ISRS, minus I1 RS minus II, this is my input current II, minus II HI minus HR V0 is equal to 0. This is my equation. So how can I find out? So I can find out II is equal to HR V0. II is equal to minus HR V0 RS plus HI. I can write my input current like this, isn't it? And if I am substituting this Z0 is equal to V0 by I0. So that is V0 divided by, for I0, I am substituting this equation. Okay, so what I am going to do is I have to find out Z0. Z0 is equal to V0 by I0. I am substituting this equation, that is HF into I1 plus H0 into V0, that is equal to V0 divided by, that is equal to V0 divided by HF into, this is I1. I1 is minus HR V0 divided by RS plus HI plus H0 V0. This is my equation. If I am solving this, how can I solve this and get an equation? That is, I am taking this RS HI LCM. So I will get V0 into RS plus HI, V0 into RS plus HI divided by HF minus HF HR V0 plus H0 into RS plus HI into V0. This V0 is everywhere. So I am cancelling out this. So my equation is RS plus HI. RS plus HI divided by what? This is HR minus HF HR. This is H0 HI. So I can say H0 HI minus HF HR, isn't it? So that is delta H. Delta H plus H0 into RS. Do I have to solve this? See, look, this equation I can write it as RS plus HI divided by, this is HRHF plus H0 RS plus H0 HI. This H0 HI and here it is a minus HRHF is delta H. This H0, this term I can replace it with delta H. So I got my next equation, that is my fifth equation. What is fifth equation? My output impedance is equal to RS plus HI, RS plus HI divided by delta H plus H0 into RS. This is the equation for the output impedance. Again, we have to find out, we can also find out the overall voltage gain as well as the overall current gain. So how can I find out my overall voltage gain? Overall voltage gain. How can I find out my overall voltage gain? Overall voltage gain can be found out for this entire circuit, isn't it? See, overall voltage gain means the voltage gain of the entire circuit, that is output voltage V0 divided by the input voltage Vin. The overall voltage gain is the entire voltage gain of this particular circuit, that is output voltage divided by input voltage gain. For overall voltage gain, I am writing it as AV overall, isn't it? Overall circuit, so AVS. So I am writing overall voltage gain as AVS. AVS is equal to output voltage divided by input voltage, that is VS. Output voltage or voltage across the load, VL by VS. Or I can write it as VL by source voltage VS into, I am multiplying it with the input voltage VI by VI. So how can I write it? So I can write this as, or I can rearrange my equation as VL by VI into VI by Vs. What is VL by VI or V out by VI? That is, we know that is our voltage gain. So that is AV into VI by Vs. So we have to find out what is the ratio of VI by Vs. In order to find out the ratio of Vi by Vs, I am taking the input side. Okay. So what is the input side? There is a source, there is a resistance. There is a source, there is a resistance. Isn't it? This circuit I am looking here. This is the Vi and this is the Vs here. Okay. Sorry. So this circuit, this is the input voltage Vi and this is the source voltage Vs. Okay, so this is the input voltage Vi and this is the source voltage Vs. So source voltage Vs into Rs. Vs into, sorry, Vs, Rs, and this is the input impedance. That input impedance is Zi. I am writing this input impedance as Zi and the voltage is across this Zi is Vi. Okay. So if I am writing, how can I solve this? I am solving with Kirchhoff's voltage law. If I am solving with Kirchhoff's voltage law, I can write Vs minus Is into Rs minus Is into Zi is equal to 0, or I can say Is is equal to Vs by Rs plus Zi. Is is equal to Vs by Rs plus Zi. What is the term I want to find out? I want to find out the ratio of, we want to find out the ratio of Vi by Vs. We have to find out the ratio of Vi by Vs, or we can say, what is this Vi? Vi is the voltage across here, that is Ii or Is. The current here I am notating it as Is. So Is into Zi is Vi divided by Vs, or I can write this as, what is Is? Is is Vs divided by Rs plus Zi divided by Vs. So this Vs get cancelled, or I can say Vi by Vs is sorry, there is one Zi also here. Okay, so I will write it once more. Okay, Vi by Vs is equal to Is into Zi by Vs, or what is Is? Is is equal to Vs by Rs plus Zi into Zi by Vs. This Vs and Vs cancel. So I will get Zi by Rs plus Zi. What is it? Vi by Vs. Vi by Vs is equal to Zi by Rs plus Zi. So if I am substituting it the same here, we already know that what is overall voltage gain AVS is equal to voltage gain AV into Vi by Vs, Vi by Vs, that is equal to AV into Vi by Vs is Zi divided by Rs plus Zi. You can substitute for the input impedance. You can substitute for the equation of input impedance also. Okay. And you can find out the net equation. Or in other words, I have to say, in ideal case, what is in ideal case, the source resistance Rs value will be equal to 0. Ideal case source resistance illenna nammal assume cheyna anganeyanengil, in ideal case we can say AVS is equal to AV into Zi by Zi cancel edittu AV is equal to AV. In an ideal case, overall voltage gain is of the circuit should be equal to the voltage gain of the transistor. So what is the equation for overall voltage gain? Shall we write it out here? Sixth equation, overall voltage gain of the circuit AVS is equal to overall voltage gain into Zi divided by Rs plus Zi. Okay, now the last one what we have to find out is we have to solve for the overall current gain. So again, what is the equation for overall current gain? So I will write it out. What is the equation for overall current gain? That is AIS, overall current gain. I can write it as AIS. What is AIS? AIS is equal to output current IL divided by the source current IS. So like before, I am multiplying it with input current, multiplying and dividing it with input current. So I can rearrange my equation. I can rearrange my equation as IL by IS into II by II can be rearranged as IL by II or I1 into I1 by IS. What is IL by II? You know that is equal to IL is minus IC. Minus IC by IB into IB by IS. This is the equation for overall current gain. So if I am solving this, I should write AIS is equal to AI into IB by IS. Now we have to find out what is IB by IS. Again, in order to find out IB by IS, we have to solve. How can we do? We have to do for the current division rule. So I am taking my circuit again. What is our circuit? What is our circuit? Here. This is our circuit. So what is the source current? This is the source current. So if I have to find out IB by IS, isn't it? So if I am drawing it, then this is my source current. IS, current divider rule. So this is going to my RS as well as the input current there is ZI. That voltage source I have to convert it into current source for current division rule. So sorry, this is my ZI, this is my input current II. Okay, and this is the RS. So I can say according to the current division rule, this current II, this current II or IB, this current II or IB is equal to, this current is equal to source current into opposite resistance RS divided by sum of the resistance RS plus ZI. I can write like this, or I can say my equation IB by IS. IB by IS is equal to RS divided by RS plus ZI. So if I am substituting in our general equation this, therefore I can say my AIS is equal to AI into RS divided by RS plus ZI. So what is AIS? AIS is equal to AI into RS divided by RS plus ZI. Then what about the ideal case? In an ideal case, this RS is equal to infinity. In an ideal case, this RS is equal to infinity. So what will be the equation? Infinity divided by infinity, it will be 1. So AIS will be equal to AI for the ideal case. So now we have the last equation, seventh equation. I am writing here. Seventh equation, what is it? Our overall current gain for the circuit is equal to AI into AI into RS divided by RS plus ZI. See, these are the equations we have to study. These are the equations we have to study, and the most important one are the input current, current gain, voltage gain, input impedance and output impedance. These are the 4 equations you have to study. I will rewrite the equation again. So these are the 6 equations which you have to study for our university exam. So these are the calculations for H parameter equations. These equations you have to study, 6 equations you have to study, and we have to solve problems with this.